So the DM had a adventure planned for the players to go out and slay some goblins in a cave. They mistook the quest objective completely, and now the game session's canceled while the DM figures out what he wants to do with this campaign now. What's up? It's me. It's Matt. Perseus Galaximus. Whatever I keep changing my name to. Here, once again, I'm here with the boy. Or, well, one of the boys. Josh. What's up, man?
Matt, was the goblin story was that a personal story that happened to you?
No, it was a reference to the D&D memes thing going on at this moment. That was one of my favorite pictures where the guy's like, all right, guys, your quest is to go out and slay some goblins. Every party member just drops pants. No, wait.
No. God, no, please.
Yeah. People on Reddit are thirsty.
Yeah, if anyone listening wants to have a real fun time, view at your own discretion. But if you want to hop onto the D&D meme subreddit, it's turned into a cesspool of goblin and kobold porn because
funny.
Because Reddit, the company, did a bunch of dumb shit. I'm not going to go through the whole thing because it's kind of a long story. Do your own looking into it if you want. But yeah, if you want to go see some real hilarious big tittied goblin memes, that's the place to go.
I think my favorite is the one where it's the goblin holding like teeth up to you, and it's just like I just fucking came inside this goblin and she's giving me rocks.
Oh my god!
Like what the fuck? Jesus!
Wait, giving you rocks like a penguin?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know. It's a fistful of like rocks giving you like here payment. I'm like Jesus.
Okay. Well, that's.
But today is not the fortuitous Smasher Pass episode. Soon to be TM.
Soon.
Soon. Going to jump back into the Matt's campaign of Shenaniganery. There's the 3-year game, as I've dubbed it. Because it's been a little bit. Last time I hosted, it was more of a ranting episode. This time it's gonna be more the storytelling, more the basically. What did I learn from running a fucking campaign for 3?
What I learned in boating school today is
yeah.
Nothing. Matt learned nothing. He's doing it all over again.
Yeah, but quick recap. Players went to the Underdark. Everyone was Australian. They had a great time, and they've got the MacGuffin, and now they're coming back to the surface. Yeah, Australian drow. Great times. Okay.
Dang it. What was I? Well, I don't know. Irrelevant. Before you get rolling, though, Matt, everyone, look me dead in the eyeballs. I know you can't, but use your ear holes to look me in the eyeballs. All right. Push follow or subscribe button right now, please and thank you. Okay, Matt.
Nice. But yeah. So where was I? Oh, the players level 16. It's been some time. They left the Underdark. They're like, all right, never again. Then, that was fun. However, it was also horrifying. And this was at the point because I went ham on the Underdark arc. I went nuts. And
you did indeed.
And basically, that is when after I did all that work and everything, and again, the adventure took 6. Wasn't supposed to take as long as it did. But I put so much content and so much shit. My players wanted to, they wanted to explore and do so much down there. It ended up taking 6 actual months, like in real life.
If I may ask, what compelled you to put so much stuff in the whole Underdark scenario? Like, did you just start coming up with ideas and just keep going? Like what?
Yeah. One of the problems well, I don't want to, it's not a bad, right. One of the things I kept doing is I would write the scenario for the adventure, and then, I'm reading up on lore or I'm coming up with ideas, and eventually I just would write a fucking novel of shit, like an entire adventure, and I wouldn't stop. Even while running the adventure, a new idea would pop in and be like, oh, let me change it. So I was just constantly rewriting and adding. And it was way too much.
At no point your brain was like, this might be too much.
Like I think
like you just kept going.
Yeah, I just kept going because I was enjoying the process so much. But after the Underdark bit, and basically throughout the rest of the campaign, this is when I started slowly developing the DM burnout. Because I did so much, and then I still had so much left to go of the campaign. And I was like, fuck, I gotta do the Underdark thing for another 3 levels.
You know, honestly,
and
I mean, you've probably come to this conclusion already, but just for the sake of mentioning it, I think the best way to avoid this problem is to do act opposite, which is write the absolute barest minimum you think you will ever possibly need, and then just see what happens. Because 9 times out of 10, it's going to take twice as long as you would ever have assumed.
Oh yeah, I've realized that now. The running Strixhaven, I don't do like the barest minimum, but I don't fucking go as overboard as I used to. I basically mostly just stick to my outlines, like my bullet points. I'll put an annotation or a note in between that if I have a new idea, but I don't go crazy and throw all these maps and encounters and like I don't write. And one of the big things was like I'm one of the people that think prep is very important for D&D, but I overprepped way too fucking much, and that is one of the biggest reasons of why I probably burnt myself out so much.
Well, it sounds like you also did a combination of prepping and world building at the same time.
Yeah.
And those two are not necessarily the same thing.
Probably.
Because, like, you could you could prep for, like, the next session and drop a bunch of little nuggets of ideas in there and not necessarily build them out fully yet and just, like, decide what they mean later, you know?
Yeah.
Like Matt Colville talks about this all the time, where he's like, I'll just say something in a session and I don't know what it means when I said it, but it sounded cool and I'll come up with a reason later.
Yeah. The problem was I did the DM thing. If I wrote the story, I wrote the campaign, I wrote the world building, and then on top of all the nonsense I wrote, that shit would happen where like I would say a random thing in an adventure or in a session and be like, ooh, that was neat. Yeah, and I just add that into the pile of things I already fucking wrote.
Yeah, I think the thing is
cut content.
Yeah, I think the trick is leaving a lot more blanks spots so you can do the ooh, that's a cool idea randomly more often.
Yeah. I definitely wish. Again, the campaign, like, it was fun, but there were certain moments, even my players too. We were like, yeah, we're all 3 years is way too long. Now looking back,
bro, 1 year's too long. I'm on like 2+ years of my game, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm ready to be done. Very close. We're getting there. We're in the final stretch.
Yeah.
And I actually mean the final stretch. I ain't talking no like it's the final stretch or that it takes another year. No. I mean the final stretch. I ain't here to play no.
But yeah, but no, I just wrote way too much, and it was good because it was another creative outlet for me. I'm an artsy fartsy guy. I like drawing, I like writing, but it was too much.
Well, that's why I think doing more world building as opposed to straight up session prep, like rather like the distinction being session prep is the thing I need for the game to function within the next immediate session or couple of sessions, right? World building is I'm just writing down ideas which may or may not come up in the immediate future. You know, like I'll have ideas all the time and I will write them down and flesh them out, and I'll look at it and go, that's cool. I don't know if it's ever going to come up, but I wrote it. You know? Yeah. And then if I see an opportunity, I'm like, hey, but sometimes it doesn't happen.
Yeah, which is probably nice that, like, again, as much as I complain about the Strixhaven stuff, one of the nice things about having a setting module, even though it's not a fucking setting, is that I don't have to do the world building. It's all just fucking there. And if I need to change things, I can, or if I need to add something, I can, but like, I don't need to go as crazy in depth as I won't say attempted or tried with my home game.
I feel like,
because again, my home game was generic Fantasyland. Fucking,
Yeah, I feel like using a module, though, in a preset setting, I actually find more stressful because really? I feel like I am less able to just say things and do things randomly because I feel a desire to uphold to the setting. Like I remember when I was running Star Wars, it was often kind of stressful for me to go from one arc to another because I was always worried about like, all right, I want to come up with a thing that makes sense in the universe of Star Wars, and I don't want to just make up stuff willy-nilly and then accidentally completely step over something that like already exists or something that's tangentially close so it lines up weird or whatever, you know, like I found that a lot more stressful. Whereas me running my own game currently, if a player asks a question randomly, I could just kind of go for it and not really worry about it. And even if it doesn't make sense relative to like previous information that I've given them in prior in the campaign, I can make it make sense if I have to. You know, like you could be like, oh, well, you see the king's daughter is dead. And then it's like, wait, but the king told us his daughter's alive. Ah, well, the king lied to you. You're like, well, that's convenient. And you're like, yes, players. Yes, it is. You know, like, nice. You can always make it work. But yeah, when you're dealing with a setting, I find that way more stressful.
I guess because like for me, it doesn't bother me as much. Maybe just because with like, I'm just now dipping my toes in the Magic the Gathering lore, and I think 3 or 4 out of my 6 players are Magic the Gathering nuts. So they know like all the story, they know everything going on in the universe, so they know a lot more than I do. But like, we've already been like, I've explained, I'm like, listen, whatever's going on like in the Magic universe, I'm like, we're like a branching timeline where this is like not going to be fully connected to whatever they're going on over there. And he's like, my players are like, oh, it's fine because right now everything's being invaded by like liquid cyber, like, you know, Ultron. Like everyone's just getting infected with robots, and you know, a hive mind is taking over all the planes. I'm like, neat. Yeah, I had no intention of adding that in.
What the heck?
Yeah, because
you just said a lot of words to me, sir.
Yeah, because with Magic the Gathering, which one of the cool things is that like it's a card game, but they do have like a story that goes on, and recently, like, and the last 5 years, they just had a big like Avengers style event with a Thanos, and they beat the Thanos, and now this new threat is this hive mind like robot people that can like infect you and then turn you into a robot and then spread the hive mind. What are they called? The Phyrexians?
I don't know.
But the story with them, they haven't been able to plane hop, so they've been stuck on their home world for years in the Magic the Gathering, you know, universe, up until these recent card packs where they somehow got to plane hop, and now they're going to all these different planes. Like, funny enough, because I look at a lot of the D&D stuff, they're fucking around with Ravnica. They're fucking around with one of the gods of Theros got infected because all of his followers became infected with this robot hive mind and thus turned him into a robot god. It's it's so crazy. And I'm just like, yeah, we're not touching that universe. That's fine. That's the main timeline. We are timeline. We are we are D&D like game timeline.
I mean, I knew that Magic has a sort of ongoing story thing, but I didn't I didn't realize it was quite that insane.
It's cool. There's a lot of stuff like, even with I never read the full. Actually, no, I read the full story of Strixhaven, like the story they had behind the card set that did not become the adventure written in the D&D module, but became like some of the background stuff, and mostly follows like these 2 twins who are planeswalkers, and they go to the world, and magic school shit happens, and oh no, there's Voldemort. So. Okay. Yeah, they do these cool stories with the cards. It's not like
yeah, like I said, I knew about the stories. I just didn't know that they went absolutely batshit wild like that.
Oh, yeah, they go ham.
It's fucking weird liquid metal aliens. That wasn't on my bingo card. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Was not on the bingo card.
No. But yeah, no, I guess I have more of an easier time with fucking around with like pre-generated shit, because it's like, oh, it's a home game. It doesn't matter. Fucking.
I mean, it's true. It doesn't. Yes, it is true. It doesn't matter. My desire to like not stick to the canon, but like my desire to like respect the canon of a pre-existing world is mostly a self-induced choice, right? Like yeah, it's, you don't have to. Could I say that, you know, in my Star Wars game Luke Skywalker was evil and a Sith Lord? I could. Like, I don't want to, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, that's neither here nor there. Yeah. What the hell are your players up to?
Yeah, so they left the Underdark, they got home, and they're like, all right, we got 4 out of the 5 magic MacGuffin items, the Teeth of the Dragon, all these dragon-scaled items that can also turn the magic clothing, armor, weird shit.
Refresh me, because it's been a minute. What was the point of getting the teeth?
So they learned that they have to get all the teeth together in order to build a super weapon that will eventually be able to kill the evil dragon cult goddess.
Oh, they oh, damn it. If Isaiah was here, he would get this joke. But they're getting all the teeth together to build the Outrage Mark II. Oh, God. Got it. All right, big weapon.
Which what was that a reference to?
Is Guilty Gear.
Oh, okay.
The Outrage is a big... These are cannon gun. To shoot gods, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, and each one of the teeth, like I mentioned a while ago, each one's based on a chromatic color, so they have all the colors but the red one. So it's like, ooh, okay. And they realize that they're like, the last red one is all the way to the Southlands. It's all the way in in the hot area, and they're like, oh, that's gonna be fun. And homebrew world nonsense, because I thought it was cool. I watched the Matt Colville stream where he and the Twitch chat made basically like Arabian Night city called Collaborus.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. And one of the lore things of the city was like, oh, it's like the walls and like the buildings are all made with this enchanted dragon glass that's made by like the Dragonborns breathing fire on the sand and making it like magically indestructible. I'm like, oh, it's fucking sick. I'm gonna take that. I'm gonna use that in my and so I basically made
question tidbit. Is the red dragon the highest CR of the chromatic ones?
I believe so, yeah. I think it's because it's the most iconic, I guess, of them all.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's also the same with the metallics. I think the gold dragon is the most powerful. Actually, no, it shouldn't. It's either the gold or the silver.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I keep mixing up. I want to say the gold, but the silver dragons are like the more iconic of the two.
It's the gold.
Metallic dragons.
It's the gold.
Is the gold? Oh,
gold is CR24. Silver is CR20.
Yeah, and I took a lot of inspiration from, again, like some Arabian Nights stuff. Actually reading some Dark Sun stuff, like old 4E books, because I wanted to get that like desert, like a city ruled by magicians and mages, where most of the guards are like evil paladins or something. And what else? I forgot what else I'm doing. Basically, but I wanted it to be like a real city of like, sword and sorcery. And most of the population this is where I wanted most of the population of like, actually I think I got this from Eberron, where a lot of the more rare races like originate from. So a lot of Dragonborns, a lot of Tieflings, a lot of like Goblinoids, like they hang out there because most of the rest of the country is populated by humans and elves and dwarves and gnomes and halflings, and they're all dickheads. So they're like, fuck it, we're gonna build our own city with blackjack and hookers and fucking magic glass. I was like, yeah, sure, that sounds cool.
Okay.
Yeah. So the players are like, all right, and obviously, and they're like, oh, the dragon cult is probably from that city with all the fucking dragonborn. So they're like, so clearly we have to go there. But they didn't really know how. And this is when in their home city, and actually, and this is from Acquisition Incorporated, because when I first started watching like the D&D streams and like learning about D&D, the Act Inc. guys, they had an airship because it was from Storm King's Thunder. That's where they got the famous like the hot air balloon with a boat underneath it. And so before ever playing D&D, I just assumed a lot of parties already had airships. And it wasn't until I started DMing where I was like, no, not every fucking party normally gets an airship.
That is a slightly odd conclusion for you to come to. I'm not entirely sure how you came to that conclusion, but okay.
It was because they had it in every game they ran. Most of the games they ran, they had this airship. And so I just assumed like, oh, this is probably something that like eventually a lot of D&D parties would get an airship or something. And like I think the acting guys were only like level 9 or 10.
I mean, you certainly could start your party with an airship. Nothing's stopping you, but I would say that's not the norm, no.
Yeah. But my players were like, oh, can we like invest? And they, from the Underdark, they got a fucking bazillion dollars. Like gold is at this point like nothing to them. So they're like, can we buy and craft an airship somehow? And so with a lot of gold, they bought a boat. They had their artificer friends from their home city kind of like help them get like some kind of arcane engine shit. And with a little like tinkering, they built themselves. And I even took the picture of the hot air balloon with the boat underneath it. And they built that. And I'm like, all right.
Rules as written, wouldn't an airship take forever to build?
Well, so basically they bought a boat to use as the main base, so they just had to pay a fuck ton of money for the boat and for the air balloon.
No, I know, but I'm saying because rules is written, so an airship is actually in the game, and it costs 20,000 GP, and crafting time is divided by cost in D&D.
I didn't do that.
Oh, okay. I was like, I feel like it would take forever because, like, I want
probably normally if I was running it that way, I literally just was like, they're like, can we go to the nearest like port city, buy a boat, and then when we have all the material, for like the hot air balloon and everything, we'll just set it up and then leave from the port city, which is like a day's travel out from their main home. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine, fuck it, yeah.
So, just for the sake of doing the math real quick. So in addition to appropriate tools for the item to be crafted, characters need the raw materials worth half the item's selling cost. To determine how many work weeks it takes to create an item, divide its gold piece cost by 50. So 400 work weeks.
Oof. Okay. Yeah, I sped run through that shit.
How many weeks are in a month?
Usually 4.
Or how many weeks are in a year, I meant to say?
Oh, isn't it 52?
Is it? Oh, buddy. Yeah. So we're looking at 7 years?
Oops. Yeah, I didn't do that.
Although, well, actually, wait. So it says half the item selling cost. So 10,000 gold. It would be. Oh.
Yeah, I think I just
3 or 4 years.
Yeah, I think they just paid for like the most expensive boat, and they're just like, yeah, this is fine.
Yeah, but how long did they have to wait?
They just literally They just went to the dock and was like, I would like to buy.
They got an airship in a day, Matt.
Well, they got the boat to use as the main base for the airship in a day. Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
and then basically it was a matter of they had this is also me being like, hey, you're the artificer guy who's been your buddy, like in and out of adventures, the players, like the local shop.
Oh, I guess. Okay. Guy. Well, actually, wait, this is worth pointing out. Multiple characters can combine their efforts, divide the time needed to create an item by the number of characters working on it. So I guess if you have a whole shitload of people working on the airship, it would be not several years, but I feel like it would still take a while. But yeah, okay.
Yeah, if they were building it by with scratch, but to be fair, they weren't. They literally just bought the bit.
No, I know. I'm just saying it probably would have. It sounds like you let them get it in a couple of days. I feel like it would have been way more than that, but
probably would have been
fine.
Way more.
It's just funny. It's just funny to do the math.
Yeah, they were level 16. I was like, fuck this. Like, let's just go. On top of that, so they got the air. They're waiting. I think I gave them like a week of downtime. So I'm like, all right, while your shit's being prepared and while the army you guys are working for is helping you set up the airship and all that stuff, they have, they get a time to like rest and check out their stronghold. They're like, all right, we didn't get attacked this time as we left. Thank God, got to hang out with their NPCs and their goons. Unfortunately, two things happened. One of them being that one of the Tabaxi, they had the Tabaxi twins, the friends. One of them was kind of like going undercover in Calabris to try and like help find the tooth. He got kidnapped. So they're like, fuck, now we gotta go save him. On top of the Green Abishai kidnapped Nurse Joy, who was dating one of the other players. And now they're like, no, I gotta go on a never-ending quest to save my girlfriend.
How dare you, fiends, heathens.
So now they're like, oh, they made this personal now, even though it already technically was personal.
Time to go kick these nerds' nuts in and get my woman back.
That's right.
A femoid.
So, yeah, off they went. They got the boat, they got that, they got their anger, all that shit. And I ended up doing the thing where like, oh, they're traveling, so I should make a random encounter and all that stuff. And then I think
on the airship?
Yeah, air counter. Yeah, air combat. It'd be cool.
I guess.
Yeah, well, one of the things, this was also around the time where I actually started buying and looking at stuff in the DM's Guild. And I was still in Storm King's Thunder at this point. So I was also very like inspired by some of the stuff going on in that adventure. And there was an adventure that came out, I think, where I didn't use the map from Storm King's Thunder, but there's an adventure where the players, if they have an airship, rock up and there's a cloud giant castle in the sky. And basically the cloud giants are riding on rocks and they're like, hey, you have to pull over. You have to pay us to use our sky or we'll smote your ship. The players are like, well, fuck, we just bought this thing. We don't want our ship getting smoted. And so the players, I kind of semi-ran not the adventure in the module. I just kind of used the base and some of the NPCs and everything. But same thing. They get pulled over by a storm giant riding a big rock, not the pebble thing, but like an actual bird rock. Yep.
Not the pebble thing? Did you just call rocks pebble? Wait.
I said not the pebble thing.
But if it was a rock, it wouldn't be called, if it was a rock like the sediment, it wouldn't be called a pebble.
I don't know.
No, Matt, if it's big, it's not a pebble. That's not how that works.
I gave every cloud, because it's me, I gave every cloud giant an accent. Mine was doing a terrible Squissar Squig Elf. Basically really bad Swedish.
Terrible Squigawahawa?
From Death Clock. He's the guitarist from Death Clock. He basically is like, he speaks really bad broken English in a Swedish accent.
Why?
I am ways more gooders at guitars than you.
Why is that the cloud giant?
I don't know. I thought it was funny.
You're an animal.
I just thought it was funny. And then every single one of them talked like this, and my players are like, oh my god, I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay.
So they get to this flying fucking gargantuan fucking castle. Massive. Like the map was huge. My players are like, oh, giants. Okay, this makes sense now. And they walk in, and through some discussion and being really kind of like favorable and really kind of like what do you call it? Kind of boistering the giants up, like being like, okay, what do we know about cloud giants? They got big egos. Okay, so we just gotta appeal to that, and we'll be out of here, guys. Don't worry about it. So all my players kept like, oh, you guys, you're the biggest things I've ever seen. Oh, we fought dragons and they weren't as magnificent as you guys. And through some, again, negotiations, the giants eventually were like, oh, I guess you can use our skies maybe. And one of the things that the players, because I remember they were like, one of the things that the giants kept boasting about, like, and this is actually a lore for giants in D&D, that they pride themselves on throwing rocks really far. I don't know why, it's like a game to them.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. So one of the players somehow convinced them, they're like, oh, you guys are really good at throwing rocks, but are you good at rolling rocks? There's this game called bowling. And started going on and
bowling.
Yeah, started going on and on about bowling, and basically tried to persuade the giants like, hey, wait, let's play this game. If we win, you'll let us like fly in the sky and you guys won't smote our ship. If we lose, we'll come to that when we come to that.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Giants, basically the Giants were like, all right, yeah, this is easy win. And the players to kind of spice the deal a little bit, because they came from the Underdark, and one of the things that they had with them after they fought the one boss down there from the adamantine mines, they had a fuck ton of adamantine bars with them.
Just casually on them?
Well, they had, bags of holding and shit.
Sure. All right. The bag of holding does reminder, kids. Bag of holding does have a weight limit.
Yeah, usually, but it's annoying to keep track of. So fuck it.
It's not that annoying.
Yeah.
I feel like adamantine bars would add up pretty fast to fill that sucker.
Oh, eventually, yeah. But they had a fuck ton, and they
actually,
wait.
I recently did the math to see if the bag of holding was full or not for my players, and it is right now.
Oops.
No. I did the math preemptively because they wanted to load it with an absurd amount of money, and I was like, all right, time to see how much money you can take home.
Right.
We probably spent like a half hour figuring out how they were going to get all the money from the Dragon's Hoard out. Good times.
That's like the best one. It's like, fuck, we either need to go back to town, leave some of it here, and hopefully no one else takes it, or some of us stay while the other half go back to town to hire hirelings, and then we come back.
No, so they stuffed as much as they could in the bag of holding, took all the other shit and the magic items and everything, and all the remaining gold. They wrapped it in a sleeping bag, tied the sleeping bag up with rope, and then buried the sleeping bag under the ground using the fabricate spell to make a square to stuff the sleeping bag in. And then when they come back up, they're going to grab the sleeping bag from under the ground and then use the Air Genasi character's levitate ability to just levitate and push it out slowly.
I suppose.
Because they're like underground, right? They're in the, actually my players are in the Underdark right now.
Okay, yeah, that could work.
Yeah. It was a whole thing.
And then one of the things that the Giants, because the players were like, wait, how about we'll spice the deal. We'll throw in our bars of adamantine. And the Giants, one of the things that they kept kind of showing off was they had a fuck ton of dragon scales. And they were like, yeah, we're going to make these in the really nice clothing or armor for us to wear, because Cloud Giants, they love dressing up and getting decadent and stuff. Jewelry, masks. So the players are like, hey, we'll even spice, we'll throw, if we lose, not only will you maybe smite us, we'll give you all this adamantine. And if we win, we want some of the dragon scales. Giants are like, oh, fuck, easy, even better. And the players somehow, even though some of the Cloud Giants were trying to cheat using wind magic, the players just pulled off fucking a bowling victory against the Giants. Mostly because I roll terribly when I'm DMing.
What? Wait, what? So the players set up human-sized bowling ball pins, and then what did the Giants bowl?
Yep. The Giants, they threw a giant-sized bowling ball. Yeah.
But what did they knock over? What were the pins?
Oh, I don't remember. I think they just grabbed I don't remember. I think they just made pins.
From what?
I don't know. I think I literally just did the Zeus from Hercules when he's making Pegasus. I'm just like, yeah, we're just gonna grab some clouds, just form them up. There you go.
What the fuck? Okay.
All right, it doesn't matter.
It's fine.
Yes. What? You solve all your problems with magic, Josh. It's fine.
But then what? Why were they dealing with the Giants at all? Why did it just go around?
Well, so when they were originally flying in the airship, the Cloud Giant on the rock basically flew up to their ship and was basically shouting at me like, yo, pull over. So they were like, we don't really want to fight this guy. Because they're like, he's big. They're like, big man on a big bird. Double trouble. We just got this boat. We don't want to lose it. Let's hear him out. And then basically he brought them to their Cloud Giant castle in the sky.
I still feel like fly away was an option here, but all right.
They could have, but they're like, let's see what this is about. Let's the whole curiosity killed the cat thing. There's like, yeah, just pick our interest. Let's see what happens.
Sure. All right. Fair enough.
But they, again, because I rolled terribly as a dungeon master for some reason. They won. So not only did they get they got to, to fly the skies without worrying about cloud giants smoting them. They got a fuck ton. Actually, the cloud giants were so impressed with them that they're like, instead of giving you the dragon scales, we'll just give you the dragon scale. We have a fully made dragon scale armor that you can just take. And players are like, even easier, even better. Thank you.
Wait, the giants just had dragon scale armor?
Yeah.
Why?
No, why not?
And it was human sized?
No, but whoever had to attune to it, it shrinks because that's how magic items work.
Is that actually how magic items work?
Yeah. It's funny because in Storm King's Son, there's a couple of times where you fight giants who are using magic items, and after you beat them and attune to the magic item they had, the magic item will shrink to you. So
this begs a new set of questions, like how do you attune to the magic item if it's gigantic?
You just have to be touching it. I think that's the thing in the DMG where it's like how to attune to magic items.
I have some questions about here, but
okay. You just have to basically be holding the fucking thing and focusing on it for an hour, and there you go. Eventually they'll shrink. Like actually in Storm King's Thunder, there's another thing where there's a dragon, and he's like a dragon wizard, and literally he wields two different magic wands. One's a wand of lightning bolts, and the other's a wand of fireball. And they're like tree size in his fucking hands.
Okay then.
Yeah. Yeah, monster. Yeah, so yeah, the DMs give your monsters magic items, and they can attune to them, and it doesn't matter. It's fine. It's in the rules. And then your players can take it, and they'll have a giant ass fucking, oh, look at these boots of Elvenkind. They're several sizes too big for me.
I like the idea though that so the giant sets the armor down, and then you have to sit there with your hands on it awkwardly for an hour and just not move.
Basically, basically what literally happened.
And then you just lean your head up against a piece of armor and like, oh my god, someone shoot me. You just.
I think my players literally did the.
Sit there.
No, it's pretty. It's nice craftsmanship over like looking at the.
I guess
armor.
At a certain point you would just drop your hands and just like lean your forehead up against it, like you're just sitting up against a wall.
Like force you like shrink.
Yes, please. God, just please shrink. Like that sounds miserable. Oh my god.
And I think. That was the only real major encounter besides them fighting. Oh, I think they also fought some dragon cultists who were flying on dragons in the air at some point. I think this is like a 10-day airship trip.
10 days?
The thing where, so I did the thing where I'm like, each day you roll on the encounter.
Oh, I thought you meant 10 IRL days. No.
This is 10 like in-game days. I did the thing where I'm like, all right, every day I'll roll a D12. Matt Colville thing. If it's 11 or 12, it's going to be an encounter.
Why'd you?
And most of the time, they didn't roll on anything.
Why'd you use a D12?
Oh, that's because that's what he did in the video.
It's a D20 in the DMG.
Oh, I don't know. I just used D12. It was
See,
easier.
Matt, you don't read the DMG either. You fucking liar.
No, I read it.
You didn't.
I just go by all the rules.
Bitch, don't tell me to read the GMG and then tell me you didn't know that. Nah.
Listen, I forgore more things.
Yeah,
with
you don't read it either.
No, I read it. I just forgore. Also, this is also like before I fully read the DMG.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. And also his method is easier. You roll a D12 on 11. It's a medium or hard encounter or whatever. 12, Matt, it's a harder deadly.
Matt, do you know what the method is in the DMG?
I'm trying to remember. Is it D20? And if you get, I forgot, is it even or odds? Something stupid. I don't
know. It's the same as Matt Colville's. It's if you roll a D20 and if you get an 18 or higher, it's an encounter. That's it.
18 or it's not as fun.
It's exactly the same, Matt. Actually, I think it might even not be an 18.
That's not fun.
It's the same rule.
I like
Matt
his
actually by using a D12, you're increasing the likelihood of an encounter.
Yeah, that's the point.
But then you could just lower the. I'm gonna kill you. Talking before.
Anyways, yeah, that was the only other encounter where they, fought some cultists riding on dragons in the sky. Made their way all the way through, and passing over the gunsmith's like kind of home city, which was like this elven city where like the buildings are made of trees and everything's all like nature and shit and connected to the Feywild. The player's like, do we want to stop there first?
The nature and then elf is the one who uses guns?
Yeah, it's a thing.
Fuck.
And he was like, no, let's just go to collaborate. Let's go to the main objective first. We can come back to my home place, later. And again, travel throughout the whole area is like a massive desert land where they have to travel through the desert. You get to this Arabian city with a port and everything. Kind of again big magic glass wall protecting it, kind of like Ba Sing Se.
Calabras. Or a war in Calabras?
Yes, actually. And one of the things...
Not that much like Ba Sing Se, then.
Oh, well, yeah. So one of the things that I ended up like, again, lore thing, was before the campaign, all that shit that the city of Calabras, which were all the Dragonborn people, and the Elves city, they were at war with each other over something that happened that involved the gunsmith player. And one of the things he did not want the players to kind of find out yet, he's like, let me just wait in time, and then I'll tell them about the situation. And just, because he's also part of like the noble family for the Elf City. So right now, the people, the city of Calabras, they're very much in the camp of the evil overlord, the invincible overlord. And so the players, besides finding the MacGuffin item, they were also trying to a task of like, hey, maybe if we just talk to them, we can get them to switch sides. Because right now they are super, super like pro overlord. But if we could show that we're not dickheads, and we're actually trying to save the world, because the overlord is just gonna let this dragon cult fuck everything up. Maybe we can get them on our side. And third objective, save our friends. Save our 2 NPC friends.
Third objective.
They save my girlfriend.
Bye-bye.
All right. Yeah. But, and this is also where the Shadow Monk, besides being, he always, for some reason, he always joked. He's like, so, after I retired, or after I left the monastery, I spent a lot of years in here because, I'm a Kenran. It's like Egypt. So, like, this is desert land, Arabian Nights. This is like my home. This is like my jam.
Sounds like...
I was like, yeah. Yeah, sure.
Okay. I mean, that's...
Cool.
It sounds like you're conflating two cultures there, but okay, I guess.
Yeah,
yeah, India and Arabia, same place, right?
Maybe.
Same thing.
That's fine. It's
or India, not India. Africa and Arabia.
Yeah.
Now I'm racist.
But he was kind of showing, literally, he was showing them around the city, and they explored the city for a bit. They got arrested from fighting some of the local paladins. They made bail because they're fucking loaded. That was fine. Paladins gave him a slap on the wrist for like, all right, don't do that again. And then eventually, throughout kind of investigating the city.
This city's law enforcement is just all paladins?
Yep. Paladins and sorcerers, yep.
That's some really OP law enforcement. What the fuck?
Yep.
That's some paramilitary shit.
Oh yeah, I made the city kind of like, because actually, this is part of the DMG. They have like, when you're making like a world, they're like, what kind of world is your city, your towns and everything run by? And one of them was like, I wanted to be somewhat of like a mageocracy, but I wanted it to be like a leader, and then I wanted him to have a council of like mages. So I'm like, all right, so there's probably a lot of like the protective forces, like again, sword and sorcery. Like I wanted a lot of sorcerers. They're the magic people in the city, but there's the police force. I wanted them to be like knights or paladins or fighters or something. Just trying to show
like
off.
The most OP ass fucking town, city,
probably.
Whatever.
Yeah,
like god damn, they're just filled with paladins. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
They could have beaten the Overlord them damn selves.
And most of the population was Dragonborn too.
That's but like a level 1 Dragonborn commoner is like that's not that big a deal. But filled with paladins, that's a different story.
But and then so they again dealing with that, getting arrested, making bail. They eventually were like, okay, asking around, trying to find their friends, and they eventually discover that there's a local thieves guild in the city that they can go talk to and probably get information out of. And they're like, oh, all right. And the entire time the players are like, how the fuck does this thieves guild work in this city full of all these goddamn knights in shining armor and shit? Like, how does no one shut this place down?
Valid question.
Yep. Which never got answered. And as they
what? You just didn't address that?
Nope.
God damn it, Matt.
And so basically, this was my attempt.
So your response to that was, I don't know, good question.
Good question, yeah.
Oh my god.
See, it doesn't matter, Josh. Don't worry, it's fine. This was my attempt at doing a mafia thieves guild. This is where what I told you, I think you and I and Isaiah, I don't remember on podcast or not, but we had the discussion a while ago of like trying to do a mafia thing in D&D, and I was like, oh, I could probably do that. It'd be funny. And this was like my attempt at it. I don't think I was 100% successful. But there were some things I kind of hit on that was pretty cool. And so they were like, they entered the Thieves Guild. They're like, we're looking for somebody. Can we speak to your boss or whoever's in charge? And so they go over to this guy sitting in the corner, playing with a deck of cards. This huge, probably would have been like a Leonin at this point, but like a panther-looking Leonin, like tabaxi guy, covered in scars. And so they're like, ooh, all right, this guy looks pretty rough. And then they notice that their tabaxi friend is just fucking playing music in the corner of the bar. Like, oh shit, hey, it's our guy.
Hey, it's Steve.
They're like, Steve, come on, let's go. And he's not listening to him. He's like, nah, man, I'm working.
I'm working.
Like, no, what do you mean you're working? No, dude, it's us. And he's like, I don't even know you guys. Leave me alone. I'm working. I'm working my gig. And so while the players, half the party are talking to him, trying to figure out what's going on, the other half are talking to the Thieves Guild, the mob boss. And basically, he's like, I've heard of you guys. You're the ones who have been kind of fucking around with the Dragon Cult and the Overlord. He's like, you also got arrested the other day. Nice job, day one, getting arrested. Numbnuts. And my players are like, hey, fuck you, man.
Hey, listen, bud.
And so, turns out this guy was, the Thieves Guild was working with the Dragon Cult. And the players are like, okay, so fuck, we have to kill this guy. Like, he's helping the bad guys. But the mob boss was like, no. He's like, we were working with them. He's like, they betrayed us. And so this guy kind of made a deal with him. He's like, listen, we ended up giving the Dragon Cult, they were looking for an artifact and they didn't pay up. So we want it back. You go get the item for us. We'll give you your friend back. Everything will be square. The players are like, okay, what the fuck did you give them? And he's like, a lich's phylactery.
Wait.
My players are like, what? What?
Whoa.
They're like, first of all, how'd you get that? Second of all, why?
Yeah.
And this guy, basically, the mob boss, was like, listen, money's money. He's like, I don't care who my clientele are. I just need, you pay up, you go. Even Stevens. He's like, but they did not pay up. Here in this tower, here in this place, he's like, deals are very important to me. They broke my deal. And so while the players are like, all right, fuck, I don't want to give this guy a lich's phylactery, but what kind of choice do we have other than like just outright trying to kill him? And at this point, my players, because they're level 16, they had the mindset, they're like, we're practically gods. We're fine. Like, this fucking mob boss guy ain't shit. And And the mob boss was like, all right, I'll even sweeten the deal. I'll even tell you where the dragon cult are. You just gotta go there and just get me the phylactery back. That's it.
Wait,
simple job.
The dragon cult stole the phylactery from the mob boss?
Yeah, the mob boss basically they made a deal where the mob was gonna get them the phylactery, and then the dragon cult would pay them a shit ton of gold.
They didn't do the
which the dragon cult didn't. They basically just took the phylactery and ran off.
Get it, yeah. It's a little Disney.
So the mob was like, all right, fuck, they disrespected me. They owe me money. Go
me on the day of my daughter's wedding.
Yeah. And so while that's going on, one of the players is trying to talk to the backseat friend and was like, hey man, let's leave. And so thinking about it, he's like, oh, he's probably charmed. Well, I'll just fix that and then cast Greater Restoration on him.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Twitch started an immediate bar fight with a lot of the employees, a lot of the Thieves Guild workers who turned out to be devils.
Okay.
Disguised as, half orcs, dragonborn, and tieflings and stuff, working at this Thieves Guild. All of them actually end up being like devils or I don't know if we ever fought one in Descent to Avernus, but the Orthons? They're like the predator looking dudes.
Oh yes. Yes. Yeah, we didn't fight.
Yeah, I love those guys.
I believe you can potentially run into one.
But some of them were these guys. And so the player's like, what the fuck is going on? And so one of the other players is like, oh shit, okay, it's going down. And then tries to basically punches the mob boss and was like, all right, we're taking you down. And the mob boss just doesn't flinch. And as the mob boss kind of stands up, the players begin to see white stripes appear on his on his chest. And they see that his hands are backwards. And it's like, oh no, he's a Rakshasa.
Oh.
Fuck.
I mean, they could take a Rakshasa at level 16.
They could if I didn't beef the shit out of him.
Oh, well, fair enough. Oh no, he's a really swole Rakshasa.
He's a swole
Look at
Rakshasa,
his chest. So wide.
Yeah, and after a stalemate, players eventually were like, okay, hey, listen, let's call it a tie. Let's just truce.
Let's call it a tie.
Listen, our bad. We'll go get the phylactery. The fucking mob boss was like, go get me. He's like, all right, fine. He's like, go get me the fucking phylactery, or I'm gonna kill your buddy now. And the player's like, God, I hate this guy. Fuck, what do we even do to him?
I mean, they did kind of provoke.
They did.
So now they're like on them.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So now it's like, all right, shit. We gotta go. So they get they find a location. It's outside the city. It's buried. The dragon cult hideout is buried underground in this kind of like labyrinth dungeon inside a massive stone, sandstorm. The player's like, what the fuck? Like, why would they do, how do they get in and out? Like how are we going to get in there? And this is something I also kind of stole from one of the, stole. Because again, I was looking at a lot of DM's Guild stuff and reading. This is when I started reading a lot of UA, trying to get material from UA. And oh, this is a really cool idea.
Okay.
Because there wasn't a lot of stuff to help me run high level adventures. So I was kind of at a loss of what to do, because I was also getting to the point where a lot of combat encounters, either I was overtuning things or everything was just a cakewalk for my players because they were so strong. And again, on top of the players themselves being good at tactically good at combat, they had a fuck ton of magic items. They're level 16, they're high as fuck.
There was 7 of them.
There was 7 of them. Yeah, so I was struggling at this point to come up with a challenging combat for them for a while. I think you probably remember some of the Facebook messages I would send you and Isaiah being
vaguely, yeah.
I'm I'm kind of fucking stumped here.
I mean, granted, I think a lot of it does come down to there's 7 of them and you gave them a shitload of magic items. I think those two things are a big part of it. But also, I do think at the higher levels, I've noticed even with with my 4 players, I'm either they're gonna stomp the shit out of the enemy, or they're gonna get beat to a pulp. There's really not a happy medium at high level.
Yeah,
I don't like.
D&D is very. Sly Flourish mentioned this a lot, where D&D is a very swingy game.
Yeah, 5e gets
it can either swing into a cakewalk, or combat can swing and you fucking clap your players. And
but like, something I think is worth mentioning is that even though you at the DM side of the screen are looking at the scenario and you're like, well, my players are fine. There's absolutely zero chance they win at this point. Like they're gonna dunk on this dude. This is probably gonna be over in 2 rounds. Just because you're looking at that and you know that from an objective standpoint, they might not necessarily feel that way.
Yeah, exactly.
So even though objectively it is true that like, they keep cakewalking over my encounters, they don't necessarily feel like they're cakewalking over your encounters all the time. So it might not actually be as big of a problem as it is, like, as you feel like it is. Just
at
because
the time, yeah.
You have so much extra information that they don't, that really swings the flow of things. Because I was coming across that too, where I was like, man, every fight, players are like, they're fine. They're not even getting a little challenged. Like, maybe one of them goes down. But on the player side of things, they're like, yeah, but we were still tense and stressed about the fight because we didn't know any of that. And I'm like,
yeah, I remember Sam and Isaiah saying,
I was like, that's a fair point.
The Draculich fight, yeah.
So I was like,
it was probably what was going on at the time.
It's a lot of it, I think.
Like recently too, I made an encounter with a bunch of like.
Also, the other thing, I just remembered. Yeah. The other thing is that whole I don't want to say discovery that me and you made, but it's kind of a discovery. The fact that deadly just means at least one character is supposed to go down.
Yeah,
that really recontextualizes the whole scenario. Because
exactly, yeah.
not only does that tell me, okay, what everyone thought deadly was and what the game intends deadly to be, wasn't lining up. But the other thing is, if the highest challenge rating is deadly, or if the highest encounter rating, whatever, is deadly, and the designers say, yeah, a deadly encounter means at least one character is going to drop, what that tells me is, so they did not design monsters with the intent to kill a player ever. Like, that means if they're thinking that way, if they're thinking that a deadly encounter means maybe one player goes down, then that's the hardest thing they're designing for, is one player going down. They're not designing for the thought process of, at this CR, a player will die, or a player is likely to die. They're not designing with that in mind. So that recontextualizes the whole situation, and all of a sudden, a lot of the way 5e works makes a lot more sense, because, the players were not designing, or the designers were not planning to have a player be killed, and we're not trying to make, like, there's no monsters in the monster manual where that was the design goal, is kill a player.
Yeah.
That really changes it. Like that one thing has recontextualized how I look at the whole encounter system of the game completely. And it all makes way more sense to me now.
Yeah, I told you I started doing the thing where I have my players, how much damage they do per round, what's their AC, what's their health. And I told you guys, like, it was like, if I want to, like, air quotes, challenge my players, I'd have to throw in like a monster that has an AC of 18 and 100 or 200 fucking hit points every combat. That's not fun. That doesn't sound fun to me.
I don't even do that. I just throw in something. My trick is, if I want to threaten them, I'm gonna throw in a monster that's well above their level. So like, my players are level 17 right now, I think, maybe 18. So I'm going to have them fight. Is this a spot? No, they know this already. I'm going to have them fight a Rasta, the mythic encounter. Which is like, technically, they tell you only do the mythic encounters when the players are level 20. But I want them to, feel the pain a little bit. So like, I was like, well, no, I'll just throw the mythic encounter at them now. So that's how I've been doing it a lot, is like, if I really wanted to be a threat, is just grossly overshoot the CR. And because of the way the game is designed, you're still unlikely Like, you're not going to TPK them, but you might kill one of them if you do that. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, with 5e as it is, this is a huge diatribe I'm going on right now, but this is something I've been thinking about a lot. But it's recontextualized a lot of shit in the game. The way 5e is, the only two scenarios I could see that are reasonable TPK scenarios that aren't just, the DM drops rocks on your head type bullshit, obviously. The two scenarios I see that could potentially would be reasonable TPKs is the players roll, actually not even, the monsters roll amazing and just dunk on the damage, right? Yeah. Or the basically you throw something at them that's so overblown that they couldn't reasonably chunk it down fast enough. Yeah, those are pretty much the only two TPK scenarios I can see in the game. If you
or if you have something that stacks a lot of status effects like prone or grapple, because that's what happened with me a couple weeks ago, where I had the blight encounters.
Yeah, but did you TPK them?
No, I almost did.
What level though?
They're level 5. Yeah,
okay. Lower levels, it's a little more doable. But at higher levels, that would be significantly less of a problem. You know what I mean? I'm more talking about higher levels here.
A higher level, yeah. That
would be significantly less of an issue at higher levels, because like, there's just so many ways to deal with things at higher levels. It's I don't know. It's an interesting thing. Basically, the game does not want you to ever, like, the game as an entity does not want you to kill players. And so if you want to kill a player, or if you want the threat of death to be there, you have to do a little kind of extra work to really push that envelope. If that being said, if you're worried about killing a player in 5e, don't be. You're probably fine. Just don't overtune things and you'll be good. You'll probably be okay. I don't know. The interesting series of discoveries I've made recently with 5e that I'm like, oh, so much more of the game makes some more sense now.
But yeah, so I was looking at a lot of, like, again, Adventure League stuff for help, just because, first time running high level D&D, didn't know what the fuck I was doing, or had a basic grasp of what I was doing, but also was like struggling.
This is where I mean, I get it. I'm not saying looking for stuff on Adventure League is a bad thing, but I just feel like you always say, like, I didn't know what I was doing. You did, though. You did know what you were doing. That's not true.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing.
I needed the right inspiration, or I needed help.
I don't think you did, though. I think you just thought you did. Like, I think you had the perception that you were going to do it wrong or something like that.
But no, that's why I always say go out and look at other stuff, because it's like, oh, you can you might not use what you find, but you might it might inspire you.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is the idea that you had is, oh, I didn't know what I was doing. I was worried I was going to do it wrong, and I don't. Like, there isn't a do it wrong, I guess is what I'm getting at.
It was never, I didn't know what I was doing, I think I'm doing it wrong. It was, I don't know what I'm doing, what do now? It was more like,
but that's what I'm saying.
What's the next thing? Not that I was going to fuck it up.
But you had to have a certain degree of instinct about what to do next, did you not? Like, did you not have an immediate, like, oh, I bet, what if I did this?
I was like, all right, so there's gonna be stuff in the desert. It's like, what can I throw at them? I'm not sure. Like, looking up like certain monsters, like, again, Xanathar's guide has the table. I wasn't too happy with some of the stuff in there. I'm like, it doesn't fit well. And then I was reading this adventure, this high level adventure. I was like, oh, this scenario actually fits a lot better. All I have to do is just, change a couple names, and that's it.
I guess, I don't know. I won't belabor the point, but I think you could trust and go with your instincts a lot more than you assume, or at least that you did at the time. I don't. Maybe you do more now.
Yeah. Yeah, but they were like, all right, fuck this mafia. Let's go get my girlfriend and the MacGuffin and the phylactery. And they left the city and went out into the desert. and found the massive, like, again, just massive, like, wall sandstorm blocking their path. Like, what the fuck is this? And they hear the sound of, like, someone screaming in giant out there, and they're like, oh no, another giant. Great. And it turned out that the storm was being caused by a storm giant quintessence, which is like, they're the most powerful, like, storm giants CR. They're fucking cool as shit. Like, they get to make this, like, lightning bolt thing. And I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if, like, this, the wall. And this is where the adventure came from, where it's like, in the adventure, there's a storm giant quintessence making this, wall of sand. You walk into it. You have to make a con save, or, like, you take a fuck ton of damage. And so my players were like, well, we've negotiated with giants before. Surely we can do it again. And basically they talked to the storm giant. We're like, hey, we're trying to get listen. They were able to convince the storm giant. They're like, listen, we're after you're not working with the dragon cult, right? Like, you're a giant. You're better than that. Because the giant and D&D lore, giants and dragons have a rivalry throughout the ages. And so the storm giant was basically like, no, he's like, they're hiding in their dungeon and I can't get to them. So the only thing I can do is just make it a more difficult for them to get out. Players ended up talking with the giant, being like, listen, if we go into the dungeon, we'll kill them all for you. We'll get them out. Don't worry. You don't have to worry about it. Just you turn off the sandstorm for a minute so we can walk by without getting fucking, like, cheese grated. One of the players tried going into the sandstorm at first to see what happened. They took a fuck. I think it was like, yeah, basically. He took like 10d10 like slashing damage from the sand and the wind. He's like, oh fuck. And the giant was like, okay, yeah, sure.
Did you, when you had the whole wall sandstorm idea, did you have a solution for that scenario envisioned already, or no?
No. That's why I looked up the adventure, because I was like, I don't know what. I'm like, I was mostly like stuck on what should the storm do?
See,
because I'm like, I had the idea of like, all right, I have this storm, but I don't have like an idea of what the storm should do besides block their path. Should I have that, like, they can't walk through it, they have to go around it? Does something happen when they go through it? And that's when I read the adventure, and the adventure basically, had the storm giant quintessence, like, creating the storm. Players walk into the storm, they take a fuck ton of damage.
I mean,
and they can basically either deal with the giant by fighting it or trying to negotiate with it.
I mean, the damage is the easiest answer there for what it should do. I was just gonna say though, is like something I've learned at when it gets to like when you get to high level, right? Like around the level 10 mark, like post level 10.
Yeah.
Just throw problems in front of your players and do not even consider what the solution is. Just let them figure it out. That's what I've learned. Yeah. Because 9 times out of 10, they will have some poor shit they pull out of their ass cheeks, and they're like, "Oh, what if we did this?" And I'll go, "Yeah, that makes sense." Like, sometimes they'll have a better solution than the answer you wrote down. 90, you're like, yes, actually. Almost every time. Basically, I don't even write a solution down anymore. Like at post level 10, I just come up with a crazy problem, and I just go, I don't know what they're gonna do.
I think there was like, a Nerd there's a Nerdarchy video where the one of the guys said that literally. He's like, I'll just put the players into a trap, and I don't know how they're gonna solve it, but they'll figure it out.
Yep.
Like he explained like the closing spiked wall coming at the players, and he's like, I didn't have a solution for it, but they figured it out. They're like, can I check the panels on the floor, see if there's like a hidden mechanism or something? And he's like, you know what? That's a good idea.
Well, particularly because at high level, it's like they're gonna have access to some crazy bullshit anyway. You know what I mean? Like, there's no point in it. Like, they'll be level 15 or some shit, and you'll be like, you have to get to this other island that's 10 days travel away. And one of the players goes, hey, didn't you say the king is like a teleportation circle? Be like, yeah. Can we use that with the teleport spell to get to the island? Sure. You know what I mean? Like, like that kind of shit. Like, they'll just whip stuff. Like, I remember Matt Colville was mentioning he did a level 21 shot.
Oh, the gate.
Yeah. And he was like, I didn't think of a way that they were going to get there. And then one of my players went, can I cast gate? And he went, yeah, okay, that works. Like, he was like, I didn't come up with a solution. They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the vibe.
Yeah.
Again, I stress though, at high level. At lower levels, you do want to think ahead a little bit because they don't have as many crazy tools.
Yeah.
Although sometimes they still do.
But before going in, they're like, okay, we talked to the giant, we're all good. One of the players is like, wait, hold on, guys, let me just scry on the inside just to see what the fuck is going on, so I know what we're up against. And with the scry, they kind of found out a couple of different things. They found out that the green Abishai stole their flail snail shell and had turned it into a cloak of stars that he was wearing. Which my players were like, you bastard, we were going to make magic resistant shields, you fuck. Cloak of Stars, I forgot what it did, but basically it like has this bright flash that like stuns an enemy, I think.
Okay.
So he was wearing that. On top of that, they saw that the tiefling, like they had the, Nurse Joy in a cage. And they're like working on a ritual. And they're like, all right, we need the blood of a good cleric. So they took a little bit of her blood. And they're like, okay, cool. And they have the Lich's Phylactery. So then they see it. But then they see this basically Death Knight Dragonborn, like, dude, with a big red glowing crystal in his chest, and they're like, yeah, shit, these fucking Skeletor's got the MacGuffin in his chest. What the fuck are we gonna do with that? And listening in on the conversation, the players found out that the Dragon Cult were using the phylactery and basically setting up a ritual to make a Dracolich. He's like, we don't want to fight a Draco. God damn these dragon guys. Can't they get another shtick?
Dracolich is a good time.
Yeah.
I had one of those.
I know. I love it. They didn't like it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, well, tough shit.
But they broke. Yeah, they scried. They're like, all right, let's go in. We fucking, they went inside, and this is probably one of my favorite dungeons I've ever run. Because I used it's called the Vault of the Dracolich. It was a D&D Next convention dungeon that they used before 5e came out. It was there's so much cool, like I'll send you guys the art so you can look at it later, but it is so fucking cool. And normally how it's run in conventions is like the players have to go around finding a wand while being chased by a Dracolich, and there's different encounters per room. So I got to really kind of flex the dungeon and
is this upscale one of those dungeon things?
Yeah, I think it was a competitive dungeon, yeah. And I got to upscale some stuff because this adventure was written for level 4 players, and my player was level 16. So, yeah. But honestly, like it was probably one of the best dungeons I've ever fucking ran. It was so cool. Like some highlights were the Shadow Monk, because being a 16th level monk rogue, he just had infinite speed. Fucking dumb. So he ran through 7 different rooms, activating the encounters in every single room, and basically was being chased all over the place by like all these different, like he ran to a room that summoned 3 bone devils that the other players were dealing with. Then he ran to another room that alarmed like 37 cultists to the players there. Then he ran to another room that activated some stone golems that were chasing him down. And then he got the worst of it was when he went into a room, and out of a bunch of coffins came these like specters. And I think or wraiths. I don't know. I think it was the CR5 one. And the wraiths are fast.
Ghosty boys.
Yeah, ghosty boys. And he was actually like getting caught by the wraiths, and they were attacking him. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, I'm level 16. How are they catching me?
Because they zoom, boy.
Yeah. So while he was zooming around, trying to run away from all the encounters, the other players were dealing with all the counters he was fucking activating. And actually, funny enough, the 3 bone devils almost killed the bear barbarian somehow because of their stingers.
Nice.
Yeah, and I was like, oh shit. And he's like, shit. He's like, this was him being like, am I dying? What a wonderful feeling. I've never had such a thrill.
I've never had such a thrill.
Basically, but going throughout the dungeon, they found the boss room. They found the cage where the Nurse Joy was at, and they saved her, and they're like, okay, let's get her the fuck out of here. But first, we gotta kill the boss. Go into a room, massive ritual chamber with a big black tar pit in the middle, bunch of cult mages.
Why is it gotta be black?
Huh? 'Cause tar is black. I ain't seen no blue tar before. You ever seen no white tar? You ever seen some green tar?
I mean, why is it gotta be white, Matt? Why is tar gotta be black or white? Huh? What you trying to say?
They see some viscous colored fucking black
some
goo.
viscous goo.
They see this tar pit, all these cultists, they see the green, and then like the players are looking around, they're like, okay, like the Skeletor, like Death Knight guy's not here. Great. And at the other end of the room, they see the green Abishai holding the phylactery in his hands, and he's just like, fuck it, the ritual's ruined, and he just throws the phylactery into the tar pit.
Oh.
And the players are like, come on, dude, now we gotta fucking get it out of there. We don't want to touch that. And so the fight starts, and one of the players is trying to get the phylactery out of the tar pit, all the while fighting all the mages and fighting the red Abishai, the green Abishai, sorry. And then after like a round of combat, from the tar pit came adult red Dracolich with the undead, with the Death Knight riding him, basically.
Oh.
And so now the players are like, bro, this is really in close space. This is just too many monsters. There's a lot of shit. And it was a cool fight. Unfortunately, the Dracolich didn't get to... I think at the time, because there was so much shit going on, I ended up just treating the Dracolich more like a mount for the Death Knight, because the Death Knight was a more threatening foe to the players. Yeah. Like, it attacked and, like, had a breath weapon and all that shit, but also, I think...
And give it, like, legendary actions and shit?
No, I gave those to the Knight. Which I probably should have just had both of them do.
Yeah, you should have done both.
I should have just done both. But while that was going on, most of the players ignored the Death Knight, ignored the Dracolich, and just did the JoJo, like, beat down the green Abishai, kicking him, because they're like, this is what you get for stealing my girlfriend, this is what you get for stealing our Flail shell, this is what you get for being an Abishai, and just fucking
I like that they were more concerned about the little puny dragon man and not the big fuck off dragon man.
They just ignored his ass.
All right, bud.
He's literally flying around, fucking dragon breath, Eldritch blasting them. And he's like, this is a perfectly good moment to throw your life away. Fight me. And they're like, hold up. We got to beat this nerd first. Oh, so funny. Eventually, the players, like the ultimate disruptor, they just drowned, I think, the Abishai in the tar pit.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they were just like, oh, just fuck you, you fucking bastard.
Bro, chill.
Yeah. They killed him.
How do you spell Abishai?
Eventually, also, this is where, again, that struggle, remember I was saying with the damage at this point, this combat was very swingy at times. It felt like it was overclocked. And then other times, like, I was rolling bad, or just some of the monsters weren't hitting as hard as I thought they would or should. And my players just did a fuck ton of damage, especially the gunsmith. Because I was using the Matt Mercer gunsmith, which is broken as fuck.
A lot of people say it's bad.
It's fun. The thing is, it's I forgot what the mechanic is called, but it
misfires.
The misfire property is bad, but at higher levels you barely get misfires.
I guess.
I forgot what it's called. It was the gun tricks that are really cool that people like.
No, I know people, but I've heard people say that, like, in terms of power, it's actually pretty weak compared to, like, normal fighter subclasses. So you saying it's broken, a lot of people disagree.
I think it was because of the sniper, because that was the one my player used a lot, and the sniper was like 2d12 damage.
Oh.
Some fucking dumb shit.
Oh yeah, it's 2d12, but yeah, then it has the misfire 3.
Yeah, so.
I mean, oh yeah.
Yeah. Hey.
I don't know. I remember seeing a while ago somebody explaining why it's like actually pretty crap.
Yeah, I don't. But yeah, players, they fought. They beat the Dracolich. They killed the Dragonborn Death Knight guy, and they got the red tooth. They got the phylactery. They got the girlfriend, and they got a level up. So,
And
like,
they
yeah,
got
we did
a
it.
level.
And they got a level. They're level 17 now, and it's like, yeah, we did it. Did all this shit finally. And on top of that, this is also when they got out of the dungeon. They told the storm giant, they're like, yo, hey, we took care of the dragon cult's gone, you're safe now. And the giant, being really like cool, Joe's character was playing the spore druid, and he had a belt of, I don't remember if it was hill giant strength or like frost giant, but he had like a weaker like belt of giant strength. And so the storm giant's like, oh, hey, give me your belt. Give me your belt. I'm gonna infuse it with magic. And basically gave them a storm giant belt instead. And this is where I was like, oh, okay. And the players were like, this is fucking great. This is cool. And then literally that is when Joe, after that, was like, this is when Tasha's had come out, I think. Or not Tasha's. Yeah, it was Tasha's. Yeah, Tasha's had come out because Joe was like, he did the thing where he's like, hey, Matt, can I go back to playing the old character? But can I use some of these, like the Van Richten's guide rule for like being an undead guy? Can I be an Aberrant Mind sorcerer now?
How many times did he change characters again?
He did change, yeah.
No, how many times?
Oh, this is his
Is this 4? I feel like I'm at 4.
let's see, 1, 2, 3. This is 4.
It is 4? Jesus
But every other
Christ.
time he'd go back to the original character.
I mean, still.
Just the original character was just different.
No, yeah, I mean, I get it, but still. Jesus fucking Christ.
So this time he went from being a lizard folk spore druid fighter, and he went to just being a returned Aberrant Mind sorcerer. Because it fit with his whole, I guess he's like, it fit with his whole, like, you know, weird Cthulhu magic stuff.
I mean, I understand the desire to change a character. I totally get that struggle, but 4's kind of a lot.
Well, again, looking back at it, we were playing for 3 years. It was way too fucking long. And now...
No, I get it. I don't know. 4 is just a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
But they got their old friend back, the one who got him, you know, he's also the great Joker. He was the one who ended up getting him to the fucking that whole event. They're a little miffed. They're like, how are you alive? How did you do this? How did you get here? How did you fight this? Yeah.
Fuck you.
But then the spore druid guy, because he's like leaving now, he's like, well, I have no use for this belt of fucking storm giant strength, and then gave it to the fucking barbarian. Made him even redonkulously OP.
Okay. That's a choice.
Yeah, Barbarian Goliath with a fucking belt of storm giant strength. He fucking a great weapon master. He did redonkulous, man. It was so fun. It was so funny.
I fucking all right.
Yeah.
I don't even words. All right, sure.
Yeah. But after all that, they're like, okay, now we have to go back to the devil mob, get our Tabaxi friend back, and try and kill that Rakshasa. Did not work again. Rakshasa basically knew the players were going to try and kill him.
Why did they want to try and kill him? Why didn't they just leave him the fuck alone?
Oh, because they thought he was a dickhead. So they're like, he's a bad guy. He's running a mob.
Bro, your players need to relax.
I did kind of play him up as being a little evil. I kind of like, I really like acted. I did a good performance.
I mean, I get it, but like, goddamn, your players need to chill sometimes. Fucking Christ, they're so aggro.
Yeah. But they attacked the hideout that the thieves guild was at, and the Rakshasa basically got away, stole the phylactery, and then basically was like, "Yeah, I got what I want. Fuck off. You can have your friend back. Fuck you guys. I'll come back at some point."
What did the Rakshasa want with the?
Who knows?
Is that a you never came up with a reason answer?
No, that was me having an idea, and then I scrapped it because I was getting burnt the fuck out, and I was like, you know what? It's fine. This thread doesn't need to be
You know what? He just fucks off, goes home, and puts it on his shelf to look pretty.
Yeah.
He just leaves it on it. It's a mantelpiece.
I was going to have him come back too later on in the campaign just to like try to kill the players. But then I was so like, burned out.
Fuck it.
I was like, fuck it. At this point, I'm like, it's fine.
It's fine. You know, he brought it home for his wife and kids. It's very pretty looking. It looks good on the mantle. Maybe he put some flowers in it at some point. It's fine.
Yeah. All good. But
so what did the Rakshasa do? Who the fuck knows?
Who knows? That's fine.
All right, fair enough.
It was also one of those things where I was like, if we ever like after I finished the 3-year game, it's like, oh, maybe I can make him the next big bad or something like the next players. And I was like, it's fine. Honestly, the home world, it's fine. I don't need to go back there for a while.
It would be kind of funny. He just showed up randomly, like in Strixhaven. He just is like, oh, hey, how y'all doing? And they're just like, what? What are you doing here? Oh, I'm just vacationing. What?
Hey, dude. Look at my phylactery.
He uses the phylactery. He just like carries it around as a keepsake. I was gonna do something evil with this phylactery, but it looked really nice on my mantle, so I said fuck it.
Yeah, so the players they got back, you know, they're like, all right.
Wait a minute. Wait. I just thought about a thing. What a phylactery can only exist if there's a lich who made it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That just means there's just some lich around in your world being like, where the fuck did I put my phylactery?
Yep.
Where's my phylactery? Like, he's just losing his goddamn mind because he doesn't know where he's just wandering around his house like, I swear to God, it was right there 2 days ago. Where'd it go?
Yeah.
No, see, okay, that's how you bring the phylactery back to Matt. You just have a lich randomly show up asking the players where his phylactery went. That's how you bring it back.
Yeah, I'll do the, you know, it's Mendul, Shandul's, you know, younger brother or something.
Yeah. And he's just,
skateboarder looking for my phylactery.
He's just looking for his phylactery. He keeps going missing. He misplaced it. It's been like years. It's awful. Write that down.
But they got the MacGuffin. They got their 2 NPC friends back, and they're like, okay, they gotta level up. They're like, okay. What was the other thing we came here for here?
What the fuck are we doing here?
Oh, right, making peace. Shit. We have to be negotiators now.
Oh, right, making peace.
Ah, yes, we're at war. I forget sometimes.
I forgot about this whole war thing we're doing.
War, yeah.
That whole
yeah, they talked. I also did a cool thing. I had like a little. I actually really like. I don't know if you've ever done it in your games, but like the festivals where you just have your players, you know, have a bunch of mini games. Like the city that they're in is having a big festival, and there's a bunch of cool like events and shit and prizes they can win.
No, I don't like joy or fun. And
damn, unfortunate.
I did no happiness allowed.
I ran a festival for them too, because they're like, oh, you know, it's happening, and you'll have a meeting with the city leader after the festival. And the player's like, all right, cool, we got fun at the festival. We just went through a hard dungeon. We got a lot of shit going on. We got this Rakshasa somewhere out here. Let's just fuck around the festival for a little bit. Let's just have some fun. They had they played chess against a chicken and lost. They entered a drinking contest
against a chicken.
Yeah. They battled some monsters in the Colosseum because there's a Colosseum there. And this is also where the city, because again, the city of sorceries and like a lot of shit, they also had a bigger, like a lot of artificers there and a big like facility and factory. And one of the things they were showing off at these festivals were like these automatons. And I used art from the Acquisitions Incorporated book of a giant clockwork behir. And it was just like for show.
Clockwork behir?
Yeah, it basically acted like a behir, but I think it was metal. It was a construct.
Interesting.
I'll try and find it for you. It's a cool design. And I was mostly just using it for art, just to show off and like, look at all these cool things we're building. And so the player, because they're level 17 now and they have a fuck ton of money, and they're like, hey, I want to buy that. I want to buy your behir. I want it.
Give me your belt.
Give me your behir.
Give me your belt. Like, what?
And so the guy,
what do you want? I want the dragon. Give me a dragon.
The shop owner's like, no, it's not for sale. It's a prototype. But like, I'm not.
No, you can't buy my dragon. Give me a dragon.
And this is when Joe's like, oh, okay, hold on. Let me phrase it a different way. Modify memory.
Oh my god! What an asshole!
He basically made it that the shopkeep thinks he sold it.
Oh my god!
Now they had a pet clockwork be here with them.
Yo, your players are fucked up.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ!
Again, the meme of like the tower trying to be knocked over by my players of Joe and all the other guys, and just being like, "Why won't this tower fall?" And me crying, "It's the most beautiful piece of shit I've ever built." It was basically the whole D&D game. Me keeping this tower from falling over. But eventually they finally, after the festival, they got an audience with the city ruler, the Sultan. I called it because I was like, why not? And basically they kind of tried to broker peace between the city and, explain the situation, to which this is when like homebrew fucking like world build nonsense comes in, where, like I mentioned a little earlier, the Elf City and the Dragonborn City were at war with each other. The Elf City is mad at Dragonborn City.
Pause.
Yeah.
Did you not see me disconnect, Matt?
No. Disconnected?
Yeah. What? My Discord crashed.
Oh, you didn't leave the call for me.
Oh. Okay. Well, anyway, we're just gonna leave this in. Fuck it.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, so the Elf City is mad at the Dragon City because they believe that the Dragon City were responsible for killing a high priest of Corellon. So in retaliation, the Elf City planned an assassination against the Sultan, which the gunsmith player was involved with. And not only did they fail to kill the Sultan, they instead killed his only son. This is me trying to I was trying to do some political intrigue between the city and see if the players would be interested in it. And
wait, what happened with the clockwork here though? Because that was where I crashed out.
Oh shit! You didn't. Yeah. So they got the modified memory, and now it's just their pet now. Now they just have it. Yeah, that's it. That's literally the art I used.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, they just had it now, and they had it throughout the rest of the game.
Did they do anything with it, or just
it fought with them?
Oh my god!
Just like the Drake.
Oh my god!
Yep. Now you know why I cringe whenever Isaiah talks about summoners and summoning and pets, and I'm just like,
Well, to be fair, there's a big difference between the summoning spells, which are, sort of intended to be the balanced for the level you get them at.
Well, not just summoning spells, just summoning in general.
No, I know, but I'm just saying there's a difference between a summoner class summoning something and you giving your players this wacky woohoo monster.
True, I guess.
There's a bit of a difference between those two. But here, being on your player's team is a slightly different vibe.
CR11 monster.
Yeah, no, that's not the same vibe. That's slightly different. Jesus Christ.
But yeah. Fuck, what was that? Yeah, so they
Sultan.
So the Sultan's really miffed about that, and basically was like, "Listen, I'll agree to peace as soon as I find out who's responsible for killing my son. Because I know it's one of the people at the Elf City. They're the ones that hired the guy. They did it. And so the one player who, the gunsmith, it was him and a couple others." And they were a special task force to go out and kill the Sultan because they believe, they believe that the Sultan and the other Dragon City were responsible for planning an assassination against the High Priest of Corellon for the Elf City. But instead of killing the Sultan, they accidentally ended up killing the Sultan's son, who was his only son and his only heir. His wife died immediately after that from fucking sadness. Then the Sultan is, and the Sultan's also silver dragonborn, regal, purple fucking robes, all that shit. But a bit miffed of the whole fucking situation.
Yep.
And so basically it was like, I will agree to the peace terms. He's like, because I am not thrilled with the Overlord, and I'm not thrilled about everything going on. But I want the person responsible for killing my son and the person who ordered it, I want them at my table. I want you to bring them to me. The player's like, what the fuck? God, fucking. All right, fine. Fucking sure. Peace. Damn it.
I just I just had a thought where you're talking about that. You're like, yeah, I was trying to introduce some political intrigue stuff. I feel like trying to do that this late in the game when you hadn't done it at any other point was not the move, G.
Probably not. But like again, I've done so much shit. Like my campaign, there's like so much shit happened. Like it was a different thing every time.
A lot of different shit happened. I get it. It's just like
I was like, yeah, why not try this out? Just try it out. It doesn't work.
Just a drastically it's just such an aggressive tone of whiplash.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just kind of funny.
But
I get it. You were trying to drag your dead GM corpse across the ground as much as you can and entertain yourself a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
But we were at the end game. The players were like, okay, fine. Well, we have to go to the Elf City anyways, because that's where we're going to learn about how to make the super weapon out of these fucking dragon teeth. So we'll go there and we'll try and find the person responsible.
There's a part of me. This is a horrible. This is a bad human being thing to do. But there's a part of me that wants players to if I was doing it, the players would rock up to the Elf City and be like, "All right, teach us how to make the super weapon." And the elves go, "There is no super weapon." They're like, "Well, then what'd we get the teeth for?" It's like, super weapon is the friends you made along the way. That would have been good. It would have been awful, but also hilarious.
But I'll end it with this where. So they had a goal. They had a clear goal. Now they're like, all right, let's go to the Elf City. All that shit. When after that session happened, the next session was our anniversary, and this was actually our 3-year anniversary. So I'm like, oh, I want to do something really special for the 3-year anniversary of the game. And I know you recently, somewhat finished Critical Role. I don't know. Did you watch any of the battle royals?
No.
No? Oh fuck! All right. What I did was I took, and I'll explain a little bit what they did was I actually even used the same map that they used, because someone took a gridded picture of it, and so I set it up on Roll20 and everything, and I used all the same mechanics, but basically a god of some sort that ended up being Matt Colville summoned all the Critical Role players into a battle map and basically had them fight to the death for his entertainment.
Okay.
And basically his name, you do this thing like, I am the for long forgotten god Colville. Play up a really fucked up accent. This is also when Matt broke his arm, so he's like, and one of his arms are cast in a metal sleeve.
Oh my god.
It's so funny.
Yeah, I didn't watch the battle royales because I don't know. I felt like they were just kind of superfluous extra crap.
The second one is the best. The second one's the funniest one.
I don't know. I wasn't interested.
But I ended up running that with my players because I mentioned it a couple of times in CR, and I'm like, oh, I thought this was a cool thing, and my players were like, you know what? I wonder who out of all of us would survive a fight to if we would all do. I'm like, oh, let's do it then.
The battle royale.
I did the battle royale. I had them all summoned onto the map. And I took the picture of Matt Mercer on the merry-go-round with the mustache and everything.
Yep.
And I'm like, I am the long forgotten god, Mercer.
Yep.
We'll fight for entertainment. And they were like,
yep.
Because half my players don't watch Critical Role, and they're like,
what the fuck is happening?
What is this?
That's amazing. Mercer.
It was so funny. But eventually the player won because the Hexblade Paladin Fighter combo wombo.
He dunked on everyone.
Kind of, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because it was the guns. The gunsmith went down first because the barbarian just kind of single targeted him, and in close range wasn't as good of a fighter.
He bullied him
because he put all of his points into sniper. So he's like a range fighter. And he's like, fuck, I am. Yeah.
The barbarian, he bully him. He bully nerd. He said, fuck you, stupid elf.
Yeah. Then the barbarian got killed by the shadow monk. Aberrant Mind Sorcerer got killed by the warlock, and then the warlock ended up killing the shadow monk at the end. So, it was fun. It was a fun battle, and honestly, I might do it again with Strixhaven. Maybe maybe after the Strixhaven.
Wait,
before
what
Mad
did you
Mage.
do the whole time? Just sit there and watch?
No, I just I described what they did. There was lair actions going on, or not lair actions. Yeah, lair actions. So when it hit 20, there was two different things that would happen in the field. There'd be these towers, and on top of the towers, these sparks of electricity would like go off every other round, so that if people were camping on the towers, and again, this I stole from the Critical Role episode, like people, so that way people can't camp on the towers. So the electricity would go off and shock whoever the fuck was on the tower. And then they're on the ground floor of this stone like temple kind of area, the fight pit area. There were these columns of fire that would basically fireball whoever's in the fireball radius on the ground would get hit. So I was doing that. I was also describing what would happen. Players would be talking to me like, all right, can I see this guy over here, or can I do this? Can I do that? So, as a DM, you're a referee. So I was refereeing.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
Yeah. But, I'll end at that. The player won a nice charm, and off we go now, finally getting to the end game to build the magic gun to kill the dragon goddess.
Matt,
yeah.
Dare I ask what the super weapon gun was called?
When the players first, I'll say it now because it's actually a funny thing. When the players first heard about it, they're like, oh, this was me trying to be like edgy, like, oh, look at I'm such a good novelist. I was like, oh, it's this spear that it's called the Chroma Spear that's gonna stab through the dragon right into its heart, and all this nonsense I wrote. Mm-hmm. And so the players thought they heard Chroma Sphere.
Oh.
So they're like, oh, it's just going to be a big ball. It's going to be like a bomb. We're just going to set off a bomb under the dragon goddess. I'm like, no, fuck it. It's not a sphere. Fuck.
What?
And so later on in the game, when they end up making it, they meet somebody who's like, oh, who told you it was a sphere? Who told you it was a spear? No, it's not a spear. It's a lance. And then they build a dragon lance.
Oh, you
kill the dragon
motherfucking. Oh my god.
My players also all cringed.
All right. This is fucking okay. Yeah. All right, buddy. I'm calling the police.
Yep. Yeah.
You're getting arrested.
Yeah, that was the end of the Dragon Glass Land Desert Adventures. Weird Arabian Night area.
I tried to give my players political intrigue, and they just said fuck it and ignored it.
Yeah.
Good times. As players are wont to do.
I mean, originally, too, they were like, we could just fight the Sultan, right? And I'm like...
we could just fight the Sultan?
I'm like...
Yo, your players are bloodthirsty.
I'm like, yeah, could. It's not going to go well.
God damn, your players are bloodthirsty. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Chill out. All right. Well, that concludes another marvelous misadventures of Matt. I think this is the 5th one.
Nice. 12 more to go.
Sounds like Matt, you're saying the next one. I'm just going to completely ignore that sentence. You're saying the next one should be the last.
Hope
6-parter.
It might be a 7th part.
Bruh. Jesus Christ.
My favorite number.
Your favorite number?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know. Or you don't have a lucky number?
I do. It's 6.
Yeah.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah, favorite number, lucky number, same difference.
All right, I guess. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Audience, you're with me. You have a lucky number, right? Type a 7 in the chat.
Put your lucky number, not in the chat, man. Put your lucky number in the comments section down below. Also, hit follow or subscribe on whatever podcast platform you're listening on if you have not already, and follow us on the Twitters to stay up to date with things.
Yeah, we're going to be posting a lot of weeb shit coming up.
That's true. Yeah, we're going to a convention, so I may actually post some weeb shit over the period. Actually, you know what? No, we're going to do one better. I'm going to make Matt take all the pictures, and then I'll just do the posting.
Okay.
I think that's how we're going to tag team this.
Hell yeah. The next episode, it's the anime episode.
Although I don't know why we just said any of that, because by the time this comes out, we will have been back from the convention. So this is all pointless information. But if you would like to go see whatever pictures we did post in the past when you're hearing this, go check us on Twitter.
Hey. Well, thanks for listening to my ramblings, everybody. And yeah, remember, buy Sly Flourish's books. I don't know. Lazy DM. Good shit.
All right.